Joseph's Amazing Adventure from Dreamer to Ruler. Part 1. Joseph's Childhood. In a land of vast plains and starry skies, there lived a young boy named Joseph. He was the youngest son of Jacob, a respected man in Canaan. Joseph was special to Jacob, who loved him deeply, more than his other sons. This was evident when Jacob gave Joseph a beautiful, colorful coat, bright as the colors of a rainbow after a summer storm. Joseph, with his coat, felt proud yet confused by his brothers' envious glances. He loved his brothers but couldn't understand why they distanced themselves from him. Sometimes, he heard them whispering in the distance, their faces dark and serious. Besides being his father's favorite, Joseph had a special gift. He was a dreamer. Not just in his sleep, but also during the day, imagining distant worlds and incredible adventures. One night, he dreamt that the sun, the moon, and 11 stars were bowing down to him. When he shared this dream with his family, his father pondered, but his brothers scoffed, further widening the gap between them. Part 2. The Brothers' Betrayal. On a hot summer day, Joseph's brothers went to tend the sheep in distant fields. At home, Joseph longed to join them, eager for their company and a chance to prove he was more than the pampered child they thought he was. When he finally reached the field, his brothers greeted him with cold stares. They hatched a cruel plan. They sold Joseph to a group of passing merchants in exchange for a few silver coins. They tore Joseph's colorful coat and stained it with animal blood to tell Jacob a tragic story about his beloved son's fate. Joseph, sold and taken away, felt a mix of fear, sadness, and betrayal. He couldn't comprehend how his own brothers could do something so cruel. Part 3. Joseph in Egypt. The journey to Egypt was long and arduous. Joseph, now a slave, had to learn to live in a completely new and challenging world. He was sold to Potiphar, a high-ranking official of Pharaoh. In Potiphar's house, Joseph worked hard, showing his intelligence and loyalty. Potiphar was impressed with Joseph and put him in charge of his house and properties. But Joseph's life was about to change again. Potiphar's wife, charmed by Joseph's appearance and charisma, tried to seduce him. Joseph, true to his principles, refused her advances. Angered, she falsely accused him, and Joseph was unjustly thrown into prison. Part 4. Joseph in prison. In prison, Joseph found a dark world but did not lose hope. He became known among the prisoners and guards for his ability to interpret dreams. He correctly predicted the future for two fellow inmates, Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker. This skill would soon become the key to the next phase of his life. When Pharaoh of Egypt had disturbing dreams that no one could interpret, the cupbearer, remembering Joseph, mentioned his name to Pharaoh. Part 5. Joseph and the Pharaoh. Joseph was brought from prison to stand before Pharaoh, Egypt's supreme ruler. Pharaoh, a man of great power, looked upon the young Joseph with curiosity. He recounted his dreams to Joseph: 7 fat cows followed by 7 thin cows, and 7 full ears of wheat followed by 7 withered ones. Joseph, with wisdom given by God, interpreted the dreams. He explained that the dreams were a warning: 7 years of great abundance would be followed by 7 years of severe famine. He advised Pharaoh to store food during the years of abundance to prepare for the years of famine. Pharaoh was impressed by Joseph's wisdom and clarity. He saw in Joseph not just a dreamer, but a born leader. Thus, Pharaoh appointed Joseph as governor of Egypt, in charge of managing the collection and storage of food. Part 6. The ruler of Egypt. As governor, Joseph worked tirelessly. During the 7 years of abundance, he oversaw the collection of vast amounts of grain, storing them in granaries throughout Egypt. He became respected and admired, not just for his administrative skill but also for his fairness and kindness. When the 7 years of famine arrived, Egypt was prepared, thanks to Joseph's planning. People from distant lands, including Joseph's own family, came to Egypt in search of food. Part 7. The reunion with the brothers. Among those who came to Egypt seeking food were Joseph's brothers. They did not recognize him, now a powerful man dressed as an Egyptian noble. Joseph, however, immediately recognized his brothers. He felt torn between the hurt of the past and the love he still held for his family. Joseph decided to test his brothers to see if they had changed. He accused them of being spies, but later gave them food and sent them back to Canaan, keeping one as a guarantee that they would return with their youngest brother, Benjamin. When they returned with Benjamin, Joseph continued his test, placing a silver cup in Benjamin's sack and accusing him of theft. The brothers, showing remorse and unity, pleaded for Benjamin's freedom, offering themselves in his place. Part 8: The Family Reunion. Moved by his brother's change, Joseph could no longer contain himself. He revealed his true identity, causing great surprise and joy. There were tears and hugs as past grievances were replaced by a joyful reunion. Joseph invited his entire family to live in Egypt, assuring them safety and provisions. When Jacob learned that his beloved son was alive, his heart was filled with joy. The family reunited in Egypt, where they were welcomed and lived in peace and prosperity. Conclusion: Joseph's story is a journey of dreams, betrayals, challenges, and ultimately, reconciliation. It teaches valuable lessons about forgiveness, faith, and the belief that even in the most difficult situations, something good can emerge. For children, Joseph's life is an example of how hope and kindness can triumph over adversity.